CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Officials at London Health Sciences Centre say they've found Legionella bacteria at Victoria Hospital. The positive samples came from the Victoria campus cooling tanks and were discovered in the midst of a Legionnaire's outbreak in the community. Brian Bicknell reports.
They can grow in hot tubs and hot water tanks, large plumbing or air conditioning systems, places where water turns to vapor. In this case, Legionella, the bacteria that causes Legionnaire's disease, have been found in samples from the cooling towers at London Health Sciences Centre Victoria campus.
Water evaporates and becomes aerosolized, where the bacteria can be in the air and then inhaled by people, and then people can get sick.
So what is Legionnaire's disease? LHSC describes it as a serious type of pneumonia, but it is not spread by person-to-person contact. Signs can include fever, chills, dry cough, and shortness of breath. On July 9th, the Middlesex London Health Unit declared a Legionnaire's outbreak within a 6-kilometre radius in southeast London. As of Tuesday, there were 69 reported cases and 2 deaths.
Even though there have been 69 cases, it's still fairly low number, just kind of considering the population of London. That falls down to roughly 1 in 10,000 people getting sick.
And while the hospital falls within the catchment area, officials say it is not the source of the outbreak.
There's not an increased risk from catching Legionella from being in the hospital than anywhere else in London.
Meantime, LHSC doubling its efforts with chemical cleaning of the cooling towers.
We have had treatment done to the water supply, and we are proceeding with an even more aggressive treatment and cleaning, just to make sure we're not causing any potential harm to the community.
The hospital now awaits results of the positive samples taken about a week ago. That's to determine whether it's the same strain of Legionella found in the community. They're expected in about 3 weeks. Brian Bicknell, CTV News.
London's mayor is promising a crackdown when it comes to city councillors crossing the line during heated debates. As Daryl Newcomb reports, it's slowing down the decision-making process at City Hall.
Another marathon meeting of City Council extended by an increasingly common pattern. A councillor's politically charged language triggers an objection. Then the increasingly frustrated mayor has to settle the disagreement.
When I ask for this transparency from the Old East Village BA, I get a letter back that gives me a fog of I don't even know how to classify it. And it really actually hurts my confidence even more.
I think is a disservice to the staff who oversee this, to the BIA, and to the councillor that sits on that.
We make it sound like something untoward is happening, so that's what I talked about before, and I'm going to engage on these things a little more clearly from now on.
This latest council meeting ran over 6 hours, the longest in a troubling trend of inefficient decision-making. Of note, the number of objections, called points of privilege, that bring debate to a standstill. When a councillor calls a point of privilege, quote, the chair is asked to immediately consider and take action to remedy a situation negatively affecting the rights or privileges of council members or of council as a whole, despite other pending business currently before council. The councillors being accused of using disparaging language and those objecting changes based on the issue being debated. But this term of council has certainly seen an increase in that cycle, and while it doesn't involve all members of council, it certainly involves a lot of them. Members of the public are left waiting in the gallery for hours as council's progress through the agenda slows, and the charged language is impacting relations with city staff, municipal agencies, and stakeholders.
I'm actually going to ask all councillors, every single one in this room, to assume that staff of the corporation and staff of the BIAs and public service members are doing things because they believe it is the right thing to do, are doing things authentically, appropriately.
The mayor will be reminding committee chairs that decision-making has to be efficient and respectful.
We can have lots of debate, but that does not need to be done with charged language or veiled accusations. And so I called that out today, and I'm going to continue to do that, and I'm going to expect the committee chairs to do the same.
Council now has an opportunity to cool off. The next scheduled committee meeting won't take place until August 11th. Daryl Newcomb, CTV News.
Community leaders in St. Mary's have been forced to shut down 2 baseball diamonds because the land they occupy is an old cemetery dating back to the late 1800s. Sean Irvin has more on the due diligence which led to the grave discovery.
Behind a baseball diamond sits a stack of tombstones representing the lives of settlers who passed generations ago. This is one of 2 sections of stones on the edges of the vast East Ward Park in St. Mary's. The stones have rested here since the early 60s, when service clubs cleaned up an abandoned, overgrown cemetery and turned it into a park. David Vesey has lived next door since 1952. He used to play in the weeds amongst the collapsed graves.
When you were little, were there a lot more tombstones around here?
Oh, yeah. All these here and all down at the end were all over the place.
But over time, most people in St. Mary's quietly forgot the dead still rest below. Although some were moved in the 1880s, the town recently learned many settlers remain.
We believe that there are still quite a few bodies that are here.
The information was discovered in an act of good faith. St. Mary's is attempting to assume ownership of land from 3 Protestant churches, 2 of which no longer exist. As part of the process, they contacted the Bereavement Authority of Ontario, an arm's-length government agency for insight. That call sparked an inspection and ultimately a violation against the town.
And that's when it became identified that they didn't know that we were using it for active recreation currently.
Once notified of the violation, the town put an immediate stop to baseball games being played at this diamond. For now, the playground up the ridge continues to be used. The BAO is expected to issue a final ruling by the end of summer. Until then,
that's where we're maintaining the land and trying to make it a great space for people and to be respectful.
The town anticipates residents will be allowed to use the park for light uses, including picnics and reflection in the future.
We have, operated without any disrespect to anyone and made a good use of the land, we thought, but we'll have to see what the BAO says going forward.
As for David, well, he's torn.
It is a graveyard, which is, we've got to respect that. But what harm are they doing? They're only kids playing t-ball.
In St. Mary's, Sean Irvin, CTV News.
Local researchers are keeping an eye on Great Lake temperatures right now, with warmer conditions creating potential risks. With more on what they're looking for, here's Jerry Dewan.
It was a surge in Lake Erie's average surface temperatures that caught Mike McKay's attention, reaching around 27 degrees Celsius.
Last week, there was some growing concern as the temperatures were starting to reach what had been, in recent years, the highest temperature, for mid-July. That was 2020.
McKay is director of the Great Lakes Institute for Environmental Research at the University of Windsor. He says extreme heat warnings issued by health units in late June and early July also impacted the lake, with overnight temperatures in the 20s offering little relief. It created a rare phenomenon known as hypoxia.
Hypoxia is when usually deeper waters in the lake lose their oxygen.
That can have 3 impacts. The first is discolored water in the drinking water supply. Not dangerous, but not pleasant. It can also contribute to blue-green algae, with farm fertilizer stored in sediments on the lake bed getting stirred up and feeding the algae. The third issue is the impact on small creatures that are an important part of the food chain.
Which really is what drives the impressive fishery we have in Lake Erie. Lake Erie has roughly 2% of the water in the Great Lakes, but about 50% of the fish. So commercial fishery on the Canadian side, massive recreational fishery on the U.S. side.
With another surge in high temperatures expected, McKay says he and other researchers will be closely watching the impacts on the lake. Jerry Dewan, CTV News.
Environmental advocates have installed a new tool on Western University's campus to visualize the changing landscape along a section of the Thames River prone to flooding. As Lauren Stallone reports, it's a project aimed at better understanding the local ecosystem.
So essentially what you do is you take your phone.
A new addition to an ecological restoration site at Western University is inviting visitors to be a part of the rehabilitation process. captured through the lens of a phone.
Visitors to the site are encouraged to place their phone on the photo station, take a photo, and upload it to the Chronolog time-lapse, where they can monitor environmental changes over time.
We'll be able to track how the vegetation community is growing in, and people can see what it looks like to restore a creek bank.
The project first began in 2023 when environmental advocates noticed flooding. They say as storms become more frequent due to climate change, flooding will become an increasing problem.
What we are trying to do is to ensure that our watercourses have robust riparian zones around them, vegetation that grows and helps to limit the effects of flooding in our neighborhoods.
Advocates planted live stakes cut from sandbar willow trees and shrubs to stabilize the creek bank and restore the habitat.
It's also much better for biodiversity and for human health and well-being, creating access to nature and making sure that wildlife can move safely through the city.
Now, the new contribution to the site is serving as an opportunity for Londoners to learn more about the ecosystems that make up Ontario's Forest City.
This provides a really focal example for our community, not only showing what's effective, but also how the project is expecting to change over time.
The photo station is the first of its kind in London. Lauren Stallone, CTV News.
There are concerns in the local fishing community after a potentially record-setting catch on Lake Huron. It's not the size of the fish worrying locals, but the species. Scott Miller has more on the potential damage grass carp can cause.
Right here. Yep, I've got a waypoint on this rock.
Richard Elliott thought he'd seen it all in his nearly 5 decades of fishing. But last week, he caught a fish he'd never, ever seen before.
I'm 65 now, and I've never seen a grass carp, and I was hoping I never would see them. We don't want them in Ontario.
Only 33 of these invasive species have ever been caught on the Canadian side of the Great Lakes since 2012, and only a handful of those were caught in Lake Huron. This may also have been the largest grass carp ever caught in the Canadian Great Lakes, Elliott believes. At more than 48 inches long and 30 inches around its belly, this behemoth weighed more than 58 pounds.
To see one that big was kind of awesome.
Elliott immediately alerted the Department of Fisheries and Oceans, who sent a crew down that day. They took samples and planned to return to the area next month to study the area off the shores of the Bruce Power nuclear plant where Elliott found the grass carp, belly up, but still alive.
I was with a buddy's wife fishing and I was pretty excited about it, saying like, wow, this is crazy. And she just kind of, yeah, whatever. But then when the crew got here and saw the excitement there, she goes like, man, this is a big deal. And I thought, yeah, I think it's a big deal.
Well, it is an amazing catch. It's not one Elliott wanted to make. That's because the grass carp is an invasive species. It's invaded some U.S. waterways, causing environmental disaster. So it's not a fish fishermen want to catch in the Great Lakes.
It's just not a good thing to have. And they do really outcompete our native species because they're not supposed to be here. There's no predators for them. They just grow like crazy.
Elliott says while he's now got an amazing story to tell about the time he caught one of the biggest, if not the biggest, grass carp ever caught in the Great Lakes, he's been told by the Department of Fisheries and Oceans that he may just find another one soon enough.
There is a camera out here that they've had out different times, and they actually have a video of two of them. So there's at least one more here. So, wow. Yeah, and I hear that they're possibly coming up in August to do more studies in the water.
In Bruce County, Scott Miller, CTV News.
Hot and humid conditions this summer have created ideal breeding conditions for mosquitoes. With that, increased risk of West Nile virus transmission. Colton Weens has more on the work tracking and managing those risks.
This is how the region of Waterloo checks for West Nile virus in the community. 16 traps are set up in popular spots for mosquitoes across the region that capture adults for testing.
And then we submit it to the lab where they count how many mosquitoes they have, they identify the species of them if they're of concern to transmit the West Nile virus, and they test them for West Nile virus as well.
A seemingly simple design, dry ice is placed inside, which attracts the mosquitoes as it transforms into carbon dioxide gas, and a battery-powered fan traps the insects in a cup.
It depends on the environmental conditions, but it can be up to 200, but it can be as little as 2 mosquitoes.
Results are usually within the end of the week.
West Nile virus is carried by mosquitoes and can cause mild to severe illness. It spreads when they feed on an infected bird and then bite a person. Cases of West Nile virus have not been found in any pools of mosquitoes or in any humans in the region this summer, but a dead bird has tested positive for the virus. The region does say because of the transient nature of birds, a higher priority is placed on mosquito pool testing.
Traps would be increased in the event that there was a hot spot or there was an area of concern, but typically the 16 would be monitored throughout the summer.
Musa says the hot and wet summer has allowed for an increase in mosquito breeding. That's why beyond the testing, public health wants residents to take precautions around their properties by removing any standing water, ensuring screens are on all windows and doors, wearing protective clothing, and using insect repellent.
Change their water baths, change their ornamental ponds, at least once to twice weekly, any unused equipment on their property to remove. In addition, if there's any buildup of leaves and debris in the eaves trough, to allow the water to not stand on their property, because mosquitoes do love standing water.
The region does conduct larviciding to eliminate larvae before they develop into adults. Residents can also contact public health for help with any standing water on their properties or to report any standing water on public land that might need to be assessed. As well, it's recommended anyone who finds a dead bird should report it directly to the Canadian Wildlife Health Cooperative. Colton Weens, CTV News.
Still to come, big league swings. How 2 former London majors got their bat in the hands of one of baseball's best sluggers. Gains in consumer and financial stocks help lift Canada's main stock index to finish higher. The TSX is up 52 points. In New York, the Dow added 508. The Nasdaq gained 127. Canadian dollar claimed a modest gain of 0.14 of a cent. On commodity markets, gold dropped more than $46 an ounce. Oil fell 6 cents a barrel. Canada's premiers concluded their 3-day summit today. With more on what was accomplished and their priorities going forward, here's Rachel Aiello.
Premiers wrapped 3 days of talks about building up the economy and tearing down internal trade barriers united against a common enemy.
We have a crisis in Canada about Donald Trump attacking us. We're trying to protect our economy.
With a former ambassador who briefed premiers yesterday, revealing today that reaching a deal by August 1st is highly unlikely.
It's complex and it may take longer, and I think it probably will.
One premier conceded that they'd now consider an agreement on sectoral irritants, such as autos and lumber, in the next 9 days, a win.
I mean, I'm watching Truth Social along with everyone else because things could change in 5 minutes.
Premiers also committed to taking at least one trade mission to another province or territory in the coming year.
We have our points of disagreement, but there are far more points of agreement in terms of how we're going to build our economies in our respective provinces.
And while the trade war with the U.S. dominated this week's discussions, today premiers also carved out time to tackle a pair of other pressing domestic issues. Public safety, including pushing the Prime Minister on bail reform.
We need to, greatly stiffen the sentence, not only for those repeat offenders, but for those that are bringing these poisonous drugs into our communities across Canada.
And strengthening Canada's strained healthcare system.
If we want to say that we're standing up to Donald Trump and we're never going to be the 51st state, let's make sure that our universal healthcare system is strong.
While Canada's premiers and the Prime Minister have come away from these talks largely on the same page, when it comes to fixing the immigration system, Premier Ford made it clear today he thinks the federal government has more work to do. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Huntsville, Ontario.
Good evening. Clear and calm overnight, although the temperature about 5 to 8 degrees warmer than it was last night. Temperatures aren't going to drop off. We'll start your Thursday morning with a nice mix of sun and cloud. Winds out of the southwest from about 10 to 15 kilometers per hour. 20 to 23 degrees to start the day. Now, this photo from Tanya definitely saying dog days of summer. He's just chilling out on the cool grass. You'll need to chill out in this forecast. It's going to be a hot one. Looking for ways to keep cool for your Thursday afternoon. Stay with us. Your local forecast details are next.
Welcome back. Julie Atchison with me now. And as we look ahead to Thursday, a change from what we've had earlier in the week because it's getting hot, sticky, the humidity's coming back.
Yeah, feeling like the low 40s tomorrow. So it's going to be one of those extremely hot and humid days. In terms of our daytime high today, it was a beautiful summer day at 28 degrees. It was fresh this morning. Not the case overnight. Temperature will hold on the very mild side. And you'll notice the air has a bit of a muggier feel to it. Most areas anywhere from 15 to 18 degrees, but milder along the lakeshore, 19 to 20 degrees. And near Port Stanley and Long Point, above 20 degrees. Satellite radar. So we've been under the influence of this big ridge of high pressure, and that has kept us nice and clear. But this front, that'll be our weather maker tomorrow, and it's going to slump southward, and it'll start to come in to the area as it starts to drop in. The probability of scattered showers and thunderstorms will start to increase. Now, the air mass will be extremely warm, as I mentioned, through the day tomorrow. We'll start with a nice mix of sun and cloud. And then as we head into the afternoon, the instability starts to build. Probability of scattered showers and thunderstorms will jump in Midwestern Ontario anytime after 6:37 p.m. Expect some storms. Main threats will be torrential downpours, lots of moisture to work with in the lower levels, so we could see some heavy rainfall. London could see a scattered shower develop out ahead of the frontal boundary. As it starts to come in, though, anytime after 9 p.m., likely we'll see some thunderstorms moving through. So Thursday night, thunderstorms. Friday, mainly cloudy to start your day with a few scattered showers. And then Friday afternoon, we should really start to break out. So this is the cold front. As it starts to come in, the humid air will be in place, and that front's just going to start to come towards southern Ontario, triggering the thunderstorm activity heading into the evening. Now, it looks to stall out, and that could play a big role in our weekend forecast. But at this point, we are looking for it to drop through, and the temperature not quite as hot as we head into your Friday. So 33 degrees tomorrow, feeling like a 43. The winds out of the southwest, and the winds picking up through the day. On Friday, the chance of showers about 40%. Not quite as hot, 25. It'll still be humid, though. It'll still feel like the low to mid 30s. So we're not going to get rid of all the humidity with this front. Saturday, a mix of sun and cloud, 29, 28 on Sunday. Still some instability on the weekend. Now, the weekend forecast not set in stone at this point in terms of things shifting and changing. And the reason is that frontal boundary that's coming in. If it stalls and it just hangs out for a bit, that becomes the focusing area for these showers and thunderstorms to develop. So we want it to clear on out to bring us a nicer weekend. A mix of sun and cloud on Monday, scattered showers and thunderstorms Tuesday, and temperature-wise will remain above average over the next 7. As we head into Midwestern Ontario, we'll hit 31 degrees for tomorrow, and then 27 Friday with a 40% chance of scattered showers and thunderstorms. Mix of sun and cloud Saturday, Sunday, Monday into Tuesday, and lots of sunshine in the forecast on Wednesday. So hot and steamy for your Thursday. It will feel like the low 40s, and then scattered showers and thunderstorms develop Thursday night. Risk for light rainfall on a Friday, but we should break out by Friday afternoon. That's a wrap on your forecast tonight. Carlyle, I'll send things back to you.
Thanks, Julie. New states of emergency are being declared in Manitoba, but these ones are not for wildfires. Farmers are growing increasingly concerned for their crops in the midst of hot and dry conditions. Alex Carpa has more on the potential impact for consumers.
This corn should be considerably higher than this.
Lyle Thorgilson has not seen his fields this bad in years. Drought conditions in Manitoba are severely impacting his crops.
You can see the yellowing of the plant here and stuff. That's drought stress.
For perspective, this is what Thorgilson's cornfield looked like in 2023. And this is what it looks like now. Significant damage done due to little rain.
It's probably one of the tougher crops, and there's still maybe hope that we can get some tonnage out of it for feed for the cattle, but yeah, it's stunted for sure.
From a distance, this oat field looks like it's thriving, but in reality, as you can see, it's not. In parts of this field, the oat is barely growing, a problem that many farmers are dealing with right across the province. 2 rural municipalities in the province declared states of emergency last week due to the agricultural disaster.
It's not good, and we need a lot of rain.
It's not just farmers in Manitoba hurting, so too are many in Saskatchewan, with communities in that province also declaring states of emergencies. Virgil Johnson says it's not just people who will be affected, but livestock too.
We're not sure how far-reaching these conditions are, and where
the local producers are going to be able to source feed to carry them through the winter to maintain the herds they have.
In addition to the drought, smoke from wildfires could gravely impact food products moving forward, but one expert says it's too early to tell how this will affect consumers at the grocery store.
Smoke could actually impact the quality of grains at harvest, and that could also impact the revenues of farmers in the end, and they could get less money for their product.
We've had to put more money into these crops than usual.
As for Thor Gilson, he is praying more rain falls so he can salvage some of his crop. Alex Carpa, CTV News, Lundar, Manitoba.
Finally tonight, the former London Majors and their baseball bat company. They've spent years crafting lumber with the goal of getting it in the hands of major leaguers. As Brent Lail reports, they're making real progress on that front.
A mammoth batting practice home run off the facing of the 500 level at Rogers Center.
Hit the light blue standard up there.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr. swinging some Canadian-made wood.
Ball's just jumping off his bats. Super exciting. How it's 20 years in the making, like me and Paul making bats. And to see a superstar like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. take the swings he was taking, we're very excited.
Windsor area natives and former London Majors players Ryan Laponce and Paul Lamancia are breaking through in the baseball bat industry.
I did dream about it. I don't think you could ever imagine that you'd have superstars like Nick Castellanos and Bryce Harper swinging.
Backyard Bats has hired the brother of Blue Jays manager John Schneider as their COO. This week, they took advantage of that connection.
Asked me to reach out to Vlad if he wanted to use some. And, Vlad, I think it doesn't really matter what he's swinging. He's going to swing it well. And like what he felt his first round of big. Good Canadian wood, right? I've seen him do that, quite a few times. But if he can do that pretty regularly with the backyard bat, that'd be a good thing for him and a good thing for us.
Laponce and Lamancia had great careers in the Intercounty Baseball League, with Laponce reaching as high as AAA as a player. They believe their bat is a product of their on-field success.
Me and Paul knowing how to hit, and Paul being that master bat craftsman, I think the players, it resonates with them.
Now the duo are trying to compete with major companies in the industry. It's not easy, but getting it in the players' hands is the first step, then letting their product prove its worth.
I tried as a player to get to the big leagues, and to see our bat there, it's just as satisfying, if not more, just how difficult it is for a bat maker to get this opportunity.
Brent Lail, CTV News.
That's it for us. Thanks for watching. For all of us at CTV News London, I'm Carlyle Fiset. Have a good night.